What's up, guys? Josh, aka Savage Hydra here, and welcome to episode 4 of our Top N series. This week's episode is going to be a top 10, and we're going to be looking at my personal favourite Pokemon Cries. Um, this is all, of course, just personal preference. You might have some other Pokemon Cries that you think are really good, and obviously let me know what you think of what my choices are in the comments below. Um, but I don't think there's really much else to say there, so we will just head straight on to number 10. Snova is actually going to be taking our number 10 slot, um, mainly because I don't know. This cry kind of it's like a little baby tree thing, and then it just makes this sound. I mean, it just I don't know, but it's just it's adorable, and I love it. And I don't even know at this stage. It's just something about me always liked Snova's cry, and I couldn't not put it on this list. So it's gonna be just chucked to the number 10 slot because there are things that I far prefer to it. But Snova's Cry has always kind of struck a chord with me. So yeah, number 10 is gonna be going to Snova. So moving on, we have our number 9 next, and this is gonna be one of those things where I kind of talk a bit more in the actual screen where I've got the Pokemon up because I don't want to really spoil it, and I'll just let these number screens fade through and go through to the cry, and we'll go that way. But yeah, number 9 is coming up now. So our number 9 slot is going to be going to Chandelier. And the reason I really like Chandelier's Cry is mainly because of just how it fits that ghost typing, and the design of Chandelier being a chandelier. The cry really kind of feels glassy, like an ethereal sort of glass thing. And I don't know, it's just one of those cries that really fits the Pokemon really well. And Chandelier is one of my favourite Generation 5 Pokemon. I mean, of course, it's not taking over from Hydreigon, but it's definitely up there. And its cry is something that it definitely has over Hydreigon. Hydreigon's cry is pretty meh, but Chandelier certainly has a decent cry to go with its theme. And then we have our number 8. So our number 8 is going to be going to Porygon Z. And really, that cry is just so, again, it's just so appropriate. It's gone from Porygon to Porygon 2, being upgraded, and then the dubious disc has just corrupted it into this crazy, like, virus, whatever, crazy gone wrong programming Pokemon. And just this cry, it just goes from Porygon and Porygon's 2 cries are fairly tame, and then it just transforms into this. It's nuts. It just goes completely nuts, and it's fantastic. There's not really a lot else I can say about that. It's just ridiculous, and that's what makes it so fantastic. And there's this animations as well, where it's just like going absolutely mental. It makes no sense at all. I mean, look at that. It's mad, but it's just going bleh. Yeah, Porygon Z, number 8. Number 7 is up next. Number 7 is going to be going to Lumineon. Lumineon's one of those really irrelevant Pokemon that you never really see much do with anything of whatever. But there is the slight issue of its cry being absolutely fantastic. just, well, see for yourself. It's so, it just like resonates. It just sounds, it's a really beautiful cry, and it fits with the design of the Pokemon itself. Just looking kind of graceful in a way, in some certain way. In Generation 4, it wasn't quite as good, but now in Generation 6, it now has like, it even has an echo to it at the end of the cry. Like, listen. It kind of repeats a little bit and echoes backwards. Like it's so fantastically done. I just really like how Luminion's cry has turned out. And it may be completely trash in terms of any form of competitive use. I do like using it in free-for-alls because it's quite fun. But its cry is probably the best thing about this Pokemon. So number 7 again is going to Luminion. Moving on to number 6. So Typhlosion is taking our number 6 slot. And Typhlosion is, as from one of the previous videos, is my favourite, probably my favourite fire type, and is certainly one of my favourite Pokemon. And its cry is fantastic because Cyndaquil and Quilava, again, is kind of similar to the Porygon Z situation. Quilava and Cyndaquil are rather tame, and then Typhlosion comes out with this monstrous cry. And it just shows how, like, how aggressive it has become. I mean, it's one of the Volcano Pokemon. And that cry itself, to me, it just sounds to fit Typhlosion's explosive nature. Not explosion, but with eruption and all that, and lava plume, and just launching fire absolutely everywhere. Its cry really fits Typhlosion's theme, which is one of the things that I've kind of kept with in this list, is why I like Things Cries so much. And I've always liked Typhlosion. I've liked its cry, I've liked its design, like everything about it since Generation 2. So Typhlosion had to be on this list, and it's taking number 6. And now we're really kind of breaching into our top 5 slot. So this is where things are kind of getting really difficult for me to kind of decide between them until we get to our like number 1 slot, because there was only really anything that could get that number 1 for me. But number 5. So our top 5 slot is being started with Frozlass. Now, Frozlass is originating from Generation 4. It's evolved from a female Snorant with a Dawnstone. And its cry, again, just fits so well. It just feels cold and icy. And again, like Chandelure's, is somewhat ethereal to fit with its ghostly theme as well. It's just, that cry it also sounds really eerie, which is the other thing. It just fits Frozlass's so well. It's one of the things that's really hard to describe how I think this cry really fits Frozlass, but I'm pretty sure you can kind of understand my meaning in saying that it thematically fits with Frozlass. And again, design-wise, regardless, Frozlass is a beautiful Pokemon, but its cry just tips it over the edge for me liking it. And it's probably one of my favourite things about Frozlass. It's become somewhat underwhelming in recent generations, but its cry is something that has always stuck with me. And that is just how it is. Frozlass is going to be taking our number 5 as we breach into our top 5 of this top 10. Moving up to number 4. So it would be a completely irrelevant top 10 cries list if Kricketune wasn't on this. So here's Kricketune. I couldn't leave the dee-lee-lee-lee-lee whoop off of this. So I think it pretty much speaks for itself, and we'll just move on to number 3. Number 3. So our number 3 slot is going to be going to probably one of my favourite 6th generation Pokemon, Aurorus. I don't know why, and a small part of me almost gets annoyed by this cry, but at the same time, it's just, you can imagine this giant 8'10", 500-pound dinosaur there just going at you, and I love it. I love it. This cry is fantastic. It's just like, it's just this icy scream of and it's fantastic. I really, really like Aurorus's cry for that reason. I don't really think there's much else to say about that. Again, it's used by Diantha as part of the Champions team in Kalos, and it's just one of those cornerstones of Generation 6, and I really like Aurorus, and Aurorus's cry is definitely right up there as one of my favourites, taking our number 3 slot. Our penultimate mon is going to be... So my second favourite cry is going to be going to Spiritomb, one of my ex-favourite Pokemon. Used to be my favourite Pokemon, and then Hydreigon came along. And it just carries a lot of weight for me, because the first time I ever heard this thing, or saw this thing, or anything about Spiritomb, was in that first fight in Generation 4 versus Cynthia. And she sends it out as her first Pokemon. It really takes you aback, because you've never seen it before at that point. And it comes out with this absolutely crazy cry, being really kind of like spooky and ghostly, and something always caught with me as well, is the fact that it almost, if you keep going, like mashing the A button as that battle starts, Spiritomb actually comes out and its cry almost syncs up with the music of the champion theme, and it's always stuck with me. It has always stuck with me, and Spiritomb, I'm sorry that there's someone that has a better cry than you, but you're right up there with that cry. But now it is time to close off this list. For our final Pokemon, there could only be one thing that could take away best cry for me, and that is Gastrodon. You beautiful, beautiful thing. I love Gastrodon. Not only for the fact that I am on a marine biology degree at the time of recording this, towards the end of it, and Gastrodon is essentially a sea slug, but its cry is just, it's glorious. It's so fantastic. Just listen again. Just that squeal followed by that wet, squishy noise. Just that, it just sounds wet and slimy and disgusting to touch, and that's always been there with Gastrodon. Just that cry is fantastic. It's just like, yeah. But it just sounds wet and disgusting. It's bleh. And it fits Gastrodon perfectly. So yeah, Gastrodon with its wet, disgusting cry that fits it so perfectly is going to be taking our my personal number 1 slot for best cry. Gastrodon. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I certainly like. There's something that always kind of gets me with a lot. I really like going through, like, just maybe sometimes sitting in the decks and the cries and everything. Just like I don't know. It just It's something I always like thinking about. There are a lot of cries in the game that incredibly frustrate me, as well as these top 10 that I really like. An example of that being Jinx, because Jinx's cry is obnoxious and incredibly long. But otherwise, that was my top 10 Pokemon cries. Number one slot being taken by Gastrodon. And if you enjoyed this video, do leave a like. And if you want to see more of this sort of thing, do also subscribe. And obviously, let me know what you think and what your favourite cries in the series are up till now in the comments below. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode.